Cricket Love Stories with me, Neel Khagram, and today we're joined by Sid Lahiri. Sid, appreciate your time.
No problem, no.
So you are the Director of Cricket at the Rajasthan Royals UK, based in Surrey.
Yeah.
Can you just talk us a little bit about your role?
Okay, so basically, my academy used to be called the Star Cricket Academy, which was based here from 2004. And in 2019, in Feb, we had a brand partnership with Rajasthan Royals. My association with them goes back quite a while now. When Rajasthan Royals wanted to spread out, they want to have a global presence.
Yeah.
The first thing they wanted to do was to give something back to grassroots cricket. Because if you look at the way we kind of run most of our programs, even with our first team, there are lots of young cricketers coming through the Rajasthan Royals team. So we are not very celebrity driven all the time. So they wanted to have this global presence, and that's how it all started with us starting this, and I'm now heading the UK Academy.
So how did that affiliation come about?
So we were going to India as when we were Star Cricket Academy. We were making a lot of trips because a very good friend of mine is a guy called Zubin Bharucha and Romy Bhinder. Zubin is the technical director at Rajasthan Royals, and we started going to the World Cricket Academy those days, so a lot of talented boys from our academy was going there. Zubin was already then working as the technical head of Rajasthan Royals. So the association started to happen. And then the lead owner, Manoj Badale, who's based in England, I started to coach his son. We came to know about each other. Manoj was very positive about the whole Star Cricket Academy and the way we were running the academy, and he always wanted to have a presence here because a lot of our players are English players. If you look at it, Josh Butler, Jaffer Archer, Ben Stokes, Liam Livingstone, Tom Curran now. Liam was there last year, so there is that. He wants to support English cricket, and he was always wanting to have a presence here. And it all then, once they decided that they're going to have this global presence, it was almost a no-brainer, so they wanted to brand partner us.
So is the long-term aim for that to get kind of young English players and then in the future, embed them into like IPL teams going forward? Is that the main reason, or is it other reasons?
Look, for example, at the moment, there are lots. For example, Ollie Pope, who's now playing for England. He was one of our students at Star. Obviously, the Surrey Cricket Academy has a big role in his development. I don't put my hand up and say everything is us, but we've had a huge pipeline of young kids with whom we are working who are now made professional contracts. Yes, the idea is that we're going to be able to spot talent early. The idea is that we are, because we're even in India now, if you look at this year, in the auction, we've got players who are just in the under-19 India team, loads of youngsters. So then if there is a talent, if there's a talent pool, which I'm pretty sure, and I'm confident there is, the English homegrown cricketers, if they come to our academies, if we see that they're talented, definitely we can put them across onto trials. And rest is, whether they do well and how it all pans. But yeah, there is definitely a pathway. And also, we're trying to we're providing unbelievably good quality coaching throughout the year. So, even if they're not playing for Rajasthan Royals, we are hoping that, we are increasing participation. So we are increasing, there are more young kids coming through the system. So those guys could be playing for a county, in which indirectly then would help English cricket. So if I look at our alumni, Ryan Patel, Amar Verdi, Dan Douthwaite, Alex Milton, Phil Salt as well. These guys have all, been to India to our camps in Nagpur, which now is also a Rajasthan Royals enterprise. They've hugely benefited from that, and they've been going when they were 12, 13-year-olds, and they've been going not just once, like 4 times, 5 times, 6 times within that period. So then when you see that they've made it, I'm not saying that is the only reason they've made it, but surely they have practiced at a much more challenging environment, which maybe some other kids haven't. So yeah, I think it's a win-win.
And let's talk about your background. In India, I know you played cricket. At what level did you play? You're an opening batsman, I believe.
Yeah. So, the reason we're even sitting here is there's a bit. Mine is an unbelievable story. Sometimes I just feel, I look back and think, how it's all panned, because I was playing cricket in Bengal, which is one of the cities. I played the junior levels, and I was playing Premier League cricket. I was doing really well. But it's extremely competitive in India. And when I was 29 years old, I got an opportunity to come and do some coaching badges here, which I took because I was thinking that I needed a second line with cricket. Till that point, I was never interested in coaching. And I landed up in Middlesex, and there was a guy called Phil Nappert who was heading the Middlesex coach education. And it was a level 1 and level 2 course. And he said to me that, Sid, you should go and do the level 3. And that's the point when I'd come for like a 4-day course. And I met a guy in the course who asked me to come and play in this club. So this is the Stoke Dagenham Cricket Club. And I still remember walking out here and a guy called Chris Gudgeon, who was the chairman of Stoke Dagenham Cricket Club, and Andrew Patrick, who's now the chairman of Stoke Dagenham Cricket Club. They just came and shook hands with me and said, look, we don't pay players. It's a small club. It's like a small village club. We're in Fuller's League. We'd like the club to move on. You're here. Would you like to come and play and help with some coaching? And that's how it started. So literally from playing cricket in India, coming over, taking a flight, not really even having a plan that I'll settle. So then Middlesex recommended me for the level 3. So then that was 8 months later.
Yeah.
So I did that. So I got an extension. I did that. And I was just coming in here. And as you see, other than the camera, but just on that side is the ground. And there are a couple of nets. And I had to coach some kids. My first student was a boy called William Patrick, son of Andrew Patrick, who was one of the chairmen. And from one student, the journey has started. So we had very close affiliation with a private school down the road called Parkside School. So the headmaster of Parkside School, the then headmaster, David Mark Aylward, he was the vice president of this club. So then the club introduced me to the school. I went to the school, and the journey started from there.
And you talk about the first student you got in, probably the most famous, I would say, Ollie Pope. Would you agree?
Well, at the moment, yes. Obviously, and listen, Ollie came when he was 8 years old.
Yeah, talk us through that kind of journey with him.
Yeah, so by that time, we were at Parkside, and David, the headmaster, David Aylward, he had seen that promise. And he said to me that, okay, you can do this as an academy. And that's when all these kids started to come in one lot. So we had Dan Douthwaite, who's now plays for Glamorgan, as an 8-year-old, a Parkside student. Ollie Pope, who was then 8 years old. Ryan Patel, 8 years old, plays for Surrey. Amar Verdi, 9 years old, plays for Surrey. So these kids, Alex Milton, 8 years old. So all these kids, just a word of mouth. So one guy came, he then spoke about me. So I think the first person to come in was Ryan's dad, Sam. Then Sam then goes and speaks to Richard and Sue Pope. Then they speak to another person speaks to another person, and these kids started to come in. to Parkside School on a daily, weekly basis to have coaching with me. And it just
What stood those players out amongst the rest at a young age?
Well, look, I've said this in my other interviews as well. I mean, I look at those guys and some, look, there is an X factor here. And there were kids who were possibly even better than these kids at that point of time. So to judge someone at a very early age is tough because, you know, parents and coaches and people get excited if they see talent at 10 and 11. But until it's just 16, 17, you don't really know whether you're going to make it. The one striking thing about all these names I've taken, one, they were all very level-headed kids. So emotionally, I think they were quite balanced, brave, ready to sort of, you know, put that cap that we're ready to learn. So pretty flexible in that way. And they were not fazed by disappointments, because, you know, when you're that child of 10 and 11, if things go well, you're well excited. But if things don't go well, there's that fall that, you know, I'm not
So
happy.
they're basically treating success and failure the
Yeah,
same
very
way.
well,
Yeah.
very well. And technique-wise, cricket-wise, I think they were all keen to hit the ball. They wanted to score runs. They were good fielders. So there was that sort of edge that, you know, look, I look at someone like Amar Vardy. I mean, he could turn the ball even when he was 9 years old. I look at Ollie Pope. He wouldn't be shy to hit a cricket ball. But if you look at Ollie, till 13 and 14, he wasn't getting a lot of chances as a batter. He was a keeper. He still is a keeper. He's a wonderful keeper. So the player development pathway changes. So yeah, it all started at that sort of time. We were then able to feed these guys to Surrey County Cricket Club. And Gareth Townsend, who is the Surrey Academy director, I've got a great rapport with him. And I've got huge respect for Alex Stewart. You know, I'm a personal friend with him. But those guys, you know, it was almost like a funnel that we were sending these guys. You know, I was doing it. There's a guy, you know, Alex's brother Neel was doing it, because Neel runs a similar kind of setup. So we were trying to put in these players to Surrey with one goal, that we get more Surrey badges out from those things. And the Surrey Academy program is also extremely solid. Gareth does a great job. So it's been a teamwork with people like Popey, Welshie at Cranley, when Ollie, because Ollie, I lost a little bit of contact with Ollie when he was 15, because he was at a boarding school. And it happens when the kids go to boarding school, they have a very different life. But till 15, I did huge amount of work with him. And I think that's a bit of a foundation, which he says in his interviews as well, that those foundations were important. But then again, Welshie did a lot of work with him at Cranley. So yeah, that's how all this journey, you know, it was quite fascinating. And they've all been to India. So they were going there in India and they were facing adults. You know, Phil Salt, who plays for Sussex. I mean, you know, guys like him were like, they would cry in India because it was so tough. But that has been a, you know, huge thing. I mean, Keith Medlicott, who, you know, as you know, we're now in Reed School. Our home is Reed School, and Med has done a lot of work with Salt because he was a Reed student. But when he went to India, he did the same. So we've tried to create that environment of high octane pressure, high octane training for the elite players.
So you know the academy as it is at the moment.
Yeah.
Does it have any affiliation with specific counties, or is it just, as you say, you're bringing in the elite players at age group level and then feeding them into various counties? What's the setup?
I'll tell you how it works. So first of all, we don't want to call ourselves elite, because you know, we've got the elite player platform and we have cricket for all. But I always say that we are role models to the next generation. So, you know, we make a difference to the way they think. We want to make a difference to the way these kids think. We try to build confidence. And when you look at how affiliation, we don't have any direct affiliation with any county. But we've got fabulous relationship with these guys, because we are never in competition with the county. You know, if I say that I'm in competition with Surrey, it's going to be a massive mistake. I, on the other hand, say that the counties like Surrey and Hampshire and Middlesex, and these kids come to us, you know, because we are based at Surrey. I'll have to put my Surrey hat here a lot more. If Gareth and Alec don't want us, I think they see synergy because they know that it's good coaching. So they also have limitations as to how much time, you know, they can give to individuals because they've got to cater to a much larger program. So it helps. So we don't have an affiliation, but we've got a great relationship with all these guys.
So if anyone wants to actually join the academy, can anyone join?
Anyone. I mean, now obviously our marketing's a lot stronger, but it's a lot of word of mouth, and yeah, anyone can join. Yes, of course. Yeah.
And then your affiliation with the actual Rajasthan Royals first team.
Yeah.
You know, certain press articles I've seen you pictures with, like as you mentioned, Joff Archer, Joss Butler, Ben Stokes.
Yeah.
What was your role been over the years with the first team?
Our COO, Jake, I mean, he's been a very forward-thinking guy. So when this brand partnership was happening, the one thing which I have been very, very blessed with is that they give me a lot of time with the first team, which I think is great for us because, especially for me, because I see these, I spend time with Ben Stokes and Archers and Butlers and all these, and the Indian guys as well. And you see their training, you hear the coaches, you're listening to the Zubin Maruchas and all these guys, and you listen. And personally, what it does is, I can then bring that back, and I bring that back, and I can see where the game is changing as well, because it's not just the Rajasthan Royals. When we are playing, when we're playing CSK, when we're playing other teams, you're listening, you're in that environment to see how the game is evolving, which then I can bring it back to my coaches. The coaches can bring it back to it's like a spiraling effect. And
do you have one-on-one time with the players? Say like Stephen Smith.
Yeah. Well, I was lucky last year. I mean, this year I think I've been in the entire process of, say, it started with the trials, so I was there, so I could see that, what are they looking for. So then when you look into that and you think, well, it's not just Rajasthan Royals. What is a professional unit? Where's the game going? What is the player requirement? So how I was taught was good because I respect my coaches, but the game has moved on, so we need to move on. And that move on can only happen if you have first-hand experience. So that's a big USP which we will have as Rajasthan Royals Academy here, because we'll always be able to part that knowledge in. So I was in the trial process, and when I went last year, I spent a lot of time to see how they train. You see Smithy train, saw Rahane train, and you see these guys, and you think they're also human beings, and they're normal people, but they have that mode when they switch on, switch off, and all of those things. What are they working in their training sessions? What are the specific areas they want to work on the training sessions? I think it just unbelievable knowledge you can get as a coach. So for my aspirations, and I think as now I'm heading the whole UK, but I also do a lot of stuff in India. I think it's great.
And as you said, like the game is developing. 2020 cricket, 5-day cricket. How is yourself as a coach have to adapt to that process?
Hugely, mate. I mean, look, it's a massive challenge, because we have to understand that the 5-day game is going to be there. It has got its challenges, but it's there. We look at senior guys, and we look at the players when they become pros, and there's a talk about having a test match team, having a one-day team, and having a T20 team, 3 different teams. At the grassroots levels, I think that needs to be introduced, because at the moment the counties find it a bit challenging, because see what happens, a young kid comes into bat, technically sound, but may consume a lot of balls. And if they consume a lot of balls and their strike rate doesn't improve, then they're possibly moved out of the system. But I think the grassroots level, what needs to happen is we need to player identify really early. where we see this kid could go on and play the longer duration game. This kid could play more on towards the shorter formats, and changes can happen as they grow. But the challenge for us is we can't now go out and say, right, this is your first 20 minutes, this is what you do. So we have to, so the one line which has changed now from our point of view at our academy is, we don't want people to just use the word positive because it's a very wide spectrum word. What we would say is, as a batter, consistently look to score. So there's a thin line there. Don't go and just, so it doesn't mean they go and slog. Got to respect the good ball, but there's got to be that intent of scoring because the game is changing. So those are the sort of changes which we have to adapt as coaches. We can't have fixed ideas. We can't just think, well, that happened 10 years back, should happen now.
Do you think gone are the days of a player can play across all formats?
No, I think still people can play all formats if your basic game and your technique, your foundation is solid. They'll play all formats. I mean, if you look at it, Virat Kohli plays all formats. Solid foundation. Kane Williamson, Joe Root, Steve Smith. If you look at these guys, Butler, they're all playing all formats. Your game, your fundamentals have to be strong. I think Ollie Pope will play all formats. If your fundamentals are not strong, then you're going to struggle. If you're just a branded T20 player, for you to move out and play test match cricket will be difficult. If you're a branded test match player, for you to come down and play T20 cricket could be difficult. So I think it's very much dependent on us coaches as to how we at the grassroots level teach and develop the game. Big massive role. It goes a bit unnoticed because we're always talking about the top, but the top only happens if the bottom plinth is strong.
And obviously Rajasthan Royals as a franchise, 2020 franchise, how do you view Test cricket?
Well, look,
or the longer form of the game?
Well, look, I mean, we are always positive about the game in itself, but I think if you look at 2020 cricket, and there's a lot of talk about IPL, the two things about Rajasthan Royals. First of all, I feel very proud that we are one of the franchises, and full credit goes to the management, Manoj and Ranjit. Manoj, who's the lead owner, Manoj Badale, and the entire hierarchy, Zubin, Jake. If we look at that, we're not celebrity driven, right? A lot of youngsters look at, from the very beginning, Jadeja started with Rajasthan Royals. I mean, the young crop we've got now. We had Riyan Parag last year. He's just come out of under-19 Indian, playing for a state in India, and we create those opportunities. I think what IPL has done, what these tournaments have done, is they've brought in fearless cricket. And if you think about it, at the end of the day, it has to be commercially viable. Even test match cricket, people enjoy. If you send people to watch test match cricket, and we had one in India recently, which was done by Saurav Ganguly, our BCCI president, which was in Eden Gardens, which was a day and night test match, and the crowd was full. But if you look at Lords, it is only entertaining now because test matches are result oriented. I think there's a myth here about T20 and longer version. As I said to you earlier, if your fundamentals are right, you will play all the formats. And also, the T20 experience, IPL, BB, and all the Big Bash and whatever is going on, is only making the players more confident. They're making the game entertaining. And at the end of the day, people are not going to come to watch even test match cricket nowadays if you watch 5 days and it's a tame draw. Those days are gone. I remember as a child, going to Eden Gardens and watching India play England. And I remember that England scored about 400 something. I was on the ground as a ball boy. And we matched it. Azharuddin scored 100. Ravi Shastri is the coach now, scored 100. But the game was a draw. That time there wasn't anything. So there was not much media. People would go and watch. It used to be an event having a test match. But now it's not like that. There's cricket every day on television. So why would you want to go and watch 5-day cricket if the mode of cricket doesn't change? So I'm all for the positivity. We want to go out there and see the bowlers bowl. We want to go out there, see the batters hit some shots and make it entertaining. So I think test matches now become a lot more entertaining than what used to. So I think it'll always have a positive influence.
And specifically now, coaching. What makes a good coach?
Mate, listen. So again, I think coaching has different. This is my personal opinion. Coaching at the top is more on man management skills. I think when you're coaching the top cricketers in the world, I don't know whether, because they have a game. It's my personal opinion. It could be wrong. You know, they have a game. It's difficult to change a game which you are when you're a pro. Very difficult. So I think it's more about managing personalities at that level. But at the grassroots levels, from where the next generation of cricketers would come in, the first and foremost thing is knowledge, not what you know. And we say this, not what we know, what my students are understanding. What is the knowledge? Am I able to simplify the process of learning? One. Secondly, a coach has to be positive. So if you come in for a session with me, whether I give you the best cricket lesson or not, you must leave the center feeling positive about it. So that's a massive thing. It's all encouragement, because I'm the role model. I'm trying to have a huge impact on that child's life, or the young guy or young girl's life, because they're coming with an expectation to learn. And there's a line between, again, there's a line between building a rapport, having the balance, having that, there's discipline, there's respect, but then also the boy or the student or the girl wants to come back to you every week. And that happens when they feel positive about the whole thing. So patience, hard work, for someone like me, if you look at me, I'm super blessed where I've reached. I don't think so. I had that expectation that nobody knew me in England. I didn't play 50 test matches. To come to a different country, to establish what I've established, I feel proud. But more than that, I feel I am making a difference to some of these young people. And if they can go back in our academy, the parents love to come because it's their de-stressing effect. So that's the sort of difference we want to make. We want them to be, happy people.
And how do you rate yourself as a coach?
I try.
You've developed some of the, the youngsters coming through the England setup, rub shoulders with best players in the world.
Well, I would say, if you ask me about myself, I could do three things. I work hard. I want to improve every day, because I don't think so that learning can stop. I really don't think that anybody can put their hand up and say, I'm well learned. So I hope that coaching thought process in cricket changes. And, personally, as I said, I keep trying. I try to improve. I read a lot. I try to understand the psyche of every kid who walks into our academy. When I go to IPL and when I see the professionals, I try and understand what goes through their minds, the pressure, expectations. So I'm improving, and I will keep doing that till I'm in this profession.
And the young players that we should be looking out for in the future?
Oh, plenty, mate.
If you can name a few.
I will name. Well,
I know it's difficult.
It's difficult, but there's loads. We in our academy at the moment, there's a kid called Krish Patel. Outstanding talent, I think. But again, he's got to keep working hard. Batsman. Tom Bates, Luke Webster, Rohan Gupta, Kailan Patel, Aryan Patel, Amit Khan, Cameron Ellis. I don't know, Veer Patel. Mate, listen, at the moment, we've loads of them. Krishnan, loads of them are going.
You feel they're good enough to go on. You don't want to put pressure on.
Do you know what? No, none of them are. Look, nobody is under any pressure. But there is a serious talent pool here. Serious talent pool. There's a huge amount of county representation. starting from age 10, 9. We've got kids, 12 years old, Tom Pates and Zach Perkins, 10 years old. But there were so many, I can't just name one or two. So the talent is huge. Who will make it? Don't know. That again depends on personality and hard work and persistence, because we are in this unique country where you don't just have to play cricket to become successful. But when we go back to India and you start playing cricket, your dream is to just play cricket. So we are in this country where if you don't want to play cricket at 16, fair enough. There's huge support, parental support system, so they can do anything in that. So it's a love for the game, and that's again our role, that we keep them interested in the game. But I think very soon at the junior level, under 15 and under 19, I'm hoping that we will see some representation. We've got huge representation in the counties. Loads of kids from our academy are playing for Surrey in the county age groups, for Hampshire, at Middlesex, at Yorkshire. So, yeah, as you say, there's a guy called Yash. He's at Yorkshire. So there's loads. So, let's see who makes it.
And any closing words of wisdom that you might have?
See, look.
As you look back, look forward as well.
So, a couple of things. I'm proud of my team. So let me say this to you. I started this as Star Cricket Academy with a few boys, young boys, who are working with me now. Tom, my head coach, Tom Tremewan, Matthew Cassans, my very good friend Derek Adjus from the Caribbean islands, a young kid called Marcus Ruffle, Alex Clinton, Ollie Ognall. These are young kids who help us out. We're going for a big recruitment drive. We'll have a few more young guys. What makes me proud is some of these kids were like for example Tom and Matthew were in their early 20s when they started, really early 20s, and they were as disillusioned as I was. They didn't know whether this was the future. I was no one, and I remember having conversations with them, but where do they see their future, because they were giving a lot of time. I'm proud that they have all got a career now, so I'm very happy that I can contribute that. I also think that if somebody wants to make this a career, you've got to make some sacrifices, and the biggest sacrifice is that our working hours are odd. When people come back home, we go to work, because on a weekday we work in the evenings, because that's when you can coach kids. On the weekends, we don't have a weekend off. I can't remember when was my last time I had a Saturday, Sunday off, because you have to work on a Saturday and Sunday. But if you make the sacrifices, I personally feel that look at this, mate. If a boy from India, knowing no one, can create something like this, that an IPL enterprise like Rajasthan Royals, who are massive, wants to come and brand partner us, I always feel anything is possible in life. But it's all, I'm all about hard work, I'm all about dedication, and I'm all about the passion for the game. We can't work for the hour. As I said to you earlier, we as cricket coaches would never make that amount of money. I also think that we need the support. I'm lucky at the moment. I'm at Reed School. I was at Parkside. Previously, I've had the support of, David. Now, Mark Hoskins, the headmaster at Reed's, extremely supportive of the whole thing. Keith Medlicott, my dear friend, ex-England player, he wants Rajasthan Royals Academy to grow. He supports us. He's like our mentor. Because I can't build a facility. I haven't got the money to build a facility. Is £3 million. I can't build it. So we need the support. And if the support comes, and more people will do this, we want to create many more academies in England. I'm sure they will all help English cricket. We'll see a lot of homegrown cricketers. It's a great pride. I was talking to Gareth Townsend, the Surrey Academy director, the other day, and I said to him, and same thing. I was talking to Alec Stewie, and I was saying, they must be feeling so proud. You've got Popey, even Sibbo, who's now at Warwickshire but was a Surrey grad. there's Tom Curran, Sam Curran, it's just, they're all homegrown cricketers. Rory Burns, suddenly in England, we've got back to that style that English homegrown cricketers play for England. Massive thing, So yeah, I just hope that we keep doing that. I just hope we get many more Popes. And also, as I said, we are not elitist. I want loads of people to come out and play, which we do. Because that builds confidence. They'll be club cricketers. They might go and do work for the city, but they come out on a Saturday and play sport. At an early age in this generation of, all these games and, things which go on, Xboxes and PlayStations. It's great to come and play sport. So I just want to keep doing it, and I hope we'll see many more kids coming in and participating.
Well, Sid, really appreciate your time today. Fantastic journey to where you got to. Best of luck for the future.
Neel, it's been a pleasure. Thank you, mate.
Sid Lahiri, Cricket Life Stories, Neel Khagram. Thank you.